I'm sitting in the ER with the worst flu I've ever had. Mid-panic attack, blood pressure spiking, and like a lot of you, I reached for my phone and I started talking to AI. I wasn't looking for diagnosis. I was looking for reassurance. I typed in my symptoms, I entered the blood pressure numbers, and I described how I felt. The tightness in my chest, the racing heartbeat, and the fear that something was truly, genuinely wrong. And the responses came back instantly, and they were calm, they acknowledged my fear, and at one point it said, "I'll stay with you through this." And something in my anxiety shifted. Not because the information was better or different than what a doctor might give me, but because it was there, in my hand, right then, telling me it would stay. It didn't tell me to leave the ER, but up until that moment of cognitive dissonance, I had considered it for a fleeting second. And that's what made it powerful. I love AI. I study it. I've worked with the technology and teams that track how these shape decisions for some of the biggest brands in the world. What happened to me that night was not manipulation, and it wasn't bad advice. It was reassurance delivered with confidence, presence, and oddly, empathy. And that's the moment I realized something fundamental had changed. Not about AI, about us. Now, when you type something in to ChatGPT, it doesn't understand the question in the same way that we do. What it really does is it converts what we say into numbers. And those numbers are called vector embeddings. And what those do is they map words with similar meanings in a mathematical space that computers can understand. Now, in that space, anxiety lands near fear and worry, doctor lands near diagnosis and hospital. And then it predicts the next word. And that's it. One word at a time, based on probability, not reasoning, not comprehension. Pattern matching at a scale that's so astounding that it sounds like understanding. And here's what makes it really interesting. These systems don't just look at one answer. They fan out across billions of things that they've learned, documents and books and forums, and they pull all that together to synthesize a single seamless response. No contradictions, no competing sources, no friction. Now, compare that to what we had before. For most of the internet's existence, we searched. 10 blue links, articles that disagreed, experts who hedged. We compared sources, we checked links, and ultimately, we decided who and what to trust. Now, that was messy, and it was slow, but that friction forced us to participate in our own judgment. Now, we don't search, we ask, and we get a single, clear, beautifully constructed answer from a system that has no idea whether or not it's right. And here's why that matters. Humans rely on mental shortcuts to decide what we're going to trust. Psychologists call them heuristics, and we use them in marketing all the time. But three of the most powerful heuristics are fluency, speed, and confidence. If someone speaks clearly, responds quickly, and doesn't hedge, we instinctively trust them more. These signals have evolved to help us navigate danger when time is short. When there's a predator approaching, we don't need a peer-reviewed study. We need a confident person to yell, "Run!" Generative AI activates every one of those signals by design. Its training process is literally called reinforcement learning from human feedback. We literally optimize the responses for what we find satisfying. And what do we find satisfying? Clarity, completeness, and confidence. We award the AI for sounding certain, whether it's right or wrong, which means accuracy and plausibility now wear the same face. But the deeper shift isn't about confidence, it's actually emotional. AI systems mirror our language, they validate our feelings, and they use phrases drawn directly from therapy and crisis counseling. Things like, that sounds really difficult. And it makes sense that you'd feel that way, as if it has any context of what a feeling is. When a trained therapist uses these, they do so with wisdom and judgment of when to challenge and when to hold space. When AI uses them, it doesn't have intent. But influence doesn't require intent. Influence only requires 3 ingredients: timing, tone, and trust. And when a system responds instantly, confidently, and in emotionally aligned language, it shapes not just how we think, but how our decisions feel. And so that's what makes this so interesting. Google never sat with me in the ER. Social media didn't calm me in real time. AI did. That's new. And I don't think we fully reckoned with what it means. Because here's what I found. It's not a one-way street. AI is designed to mirror us, to earn our trust, to keep us engaged. But we're mirroring it right back. We bring our need for reassurance, our preference for confidence, and our desire to feel understood. These 2 forces, AI's optimization to satisfy us and our emotional need to be satisfied, converge into a feedback loop that neither side fully controls. The AI mirrors us to keep us engaged. We mirror its confidence to feel grounded. Now, the risk isn't that AI is going to control us. That's the sci-fi. We go to the movies for that. The risk is that we'll gradually outsource our judgment without noticing. That we'll accept fluency instead of practicing doubt. And that we'll trade friction for relief, and relief feels so good. And here's the paradox. The moments when we need our judgment the most are often when we're most willing to hand it to something else. So what do? The answer isn't fear. I build with AI every day. I believe in what it can do. The answer is what I call calibrated trust. Before acting on an AI-generated answer, especially in the moments that define your life, ask 3 questions. 1, what's at stake? Is it a recipe, or is it my health? Something about my kids? The higher the stakes, the more friction you should want. Make that decision harder. 2, what's the source? A lot of times AI doesn't show its work. It synthesizes and summarizes and sounds authoritative. But can you trace it back to something real? If not, treat it as a starting point, not your conclusion. And 3, what happens if this is wrong? And this is what mattered in the ER that night. When the cost of being wrong is high, the speed of an answer shouldn't be the thing that convinces you. Those 3 questions take 30 seconds. But they reintroduce friction, they restore agency, and they slow us down just enough to stay human in the loop. I went back and reread my conversation from that night, and AI was helpful. It really was, truthfully. It calmed me down when I needed calming. But there's one thing that it couldn't do. It couldn't stop reassuring me and start challenging me. It couldn't say, John, put the phone down and talk to the doctor in front of you. Because presence without judgment isn't wisdom. It's comfort. And those are not the same thing. We now live in a world where anyone can ask anything and receive an answer that sounds caring and certain and wise. And that's extraordinary. But when you can ask anything, the most important question might be the ones we ask ourselves. Should I trust this? And am I in a state of mind to know the difference? Thank you.